I have a very special guest today, and I know some of you already know this because you were on here earlier or you follow either one of us on Instagram. And so, hello. Oh, we can answer to that one. She's saying, hello, beautiful ladies from Tara.
Hello. Hi, Tara.
So she is here and visiting from Australia, from Down Under.
She's close. She's getting better. She's getting better.
And so, anyway, I just thought we would do a little bit of a question and answer type thing and share with you guys Courtney and some of her wisdom and inspiration. But I know that a lot of you are probably part of her Patreon, which is, she calls the Little Inkies. Mm-hmm. And so she has a Patreon, and a lot of you are probably on there, but there are some people who may not know exactly who Courtney is as far as on a personal level, so to speak.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to just get you guys to get to know her a little bit and maybe introduce her to you if you don't know who she is, just so that, because I have gained a lot of inspiration from her, and I've just, the more we've talked, especially now that I've met her, I've really come to value her even more so as a person, and not just someone who journals and plans in the industry, but someone who really has touched my heart in many ways in the things that she shared. She wears a lot of hats. She's an artist. She's a mom. She's a wife. She has 2 beautiful children and a wonderful husband, which we have my husband and I got a chance to talk to last night at length. It was really a neat time of just getting to know each other. But the thing that I really have come to know Courtney is a survivor.
I have been journaling all my life, and I will continue to journal to the end of my life. It's all I can think of doing. I can't think of ever stopping it. And when she said that I was a survivor, and I don't think Ro actually knew that I came from an abusive relationship.
No, I didn't.
It was probably something you only found out yesterday. Probably, yeah. I did leave an abusive relationship and took my 2 teacup humans with me, and John took care of us, and so I've always used my journal as a way to pick myself up, put myself back together, and keep going, because you always have to keep one foot in front of the other, one foot in front of the other. And obviously, as I've gotten older, I've gotten better at it, and I will always use my journal and my art. I always say that art saved my life. Like, without my art, I don't think that I could possibly go and do what I do now. So when I was in England living with my ex, I actually stopped journaling completely and stopped drawing. You can physically see the dates in my journal. There was probably about 3 years where there's nothing. There's not a blip in any of my notebooks. And when I left my ex, when I decided that was it, I was done, I couldn't do this anymore, I'm not living, this is not my future, this is not where it's going to happen, I turned back to my journal, and my journal and my art and my writing, everything just completely brought me back to life. Obviously my husband John had a huge hand in that, but I truly believe that if you are not journaling now, you need to, because it will help you survive anything. Your heart and your soul needs to be in that book, and it needs to be kept close if you wanted to. You don't have to share it, you don't have to do anything. Your book is an extension of you, and it will always be something that is always close by. And I definitely think that journaling is something that everyone needs to have in their life, whether it be words, pictures, drawings. Just put pen to paper. Just put pen to paper is all I ask you to do, because it's everything. It's everything.
And I totally agree. And earlier we had a bunch of people here for a meetup, and we all really, in one way or another, we started journaling as we shared because of the need to do it. And we've all kind of agreed that we wish more people knew what benefits that it has given us, and that I think it would encourage them to journal as well. And I would encourage you to start your kids journaling too if you have little ones
like
at
Kelsey,
home.
the teacher, she's got a journal club, and she's got kids that are in 5th grade to 8th grade, and she's having a journal club with girls that desperately need it. If you have small humans, teach them young to keep a journal, whether it's just to write what they did that day. You never know how much a journal can affect someone, because it's just something that needs to be in people's lives, because we share our lives in social media, we share our lives in all different places, but I honestly think social media is just a snapshot of perfect, whereas a journal can be an imperfect snapshot and more real than anything you could put on the internet.
One of her videos is when she shared about she has bouts of depression. Well, that is something that, yes, it is talked about, and I think it helps people relate to her.
Yes.
And realize that, you know what, I have that too, and it's okay. I just have to take one step at a time. But anyway, one of the things that we had also shared about is in art itself is we live in a time right now where art is a lot more appreciated than it ever was in the past.
Most definitely.
And you know, we're in the industry. We do make a living doing art and stuff like that, and I think that, you know, there's a lot of value to it. And I know that there's a lot of value with Courtney and her, now she has a Patreon.
Yeah.
And I know that has been valuable to me. I mean, just the ideas that she has, maybe I won't illustrate like she does, but just the ideas that come out of her talking and me watching a lot of times gives me inspiration, and it even encourages me when I'm watching her video and other people's videos to actually, sometimes I go just to check out, so to speak, to just kind of listen and watch a video, and then more often than not I end up taking my own journal. And while she's talking about what she's doing, I'm not doing what she's doing necessarily, but I start playing.
No, I always encourage you to have your journal out while you're listening to me, because I talk a lot.
Yeah, and it's just an inspiration, and it's as if she's at the table or at the desk with you, at the kitchen table, wherever you're doing your artwork. So it's really neat. You know, what is your background in art, and what makes you who you are today as an artist?
My background as art is I have a degree in creative arts, and then I left all of that and became a mum. I became a mum very young, 21. I had my son, so my kids are of an age now where they're both in primary school. So I feel like I've done all that sort of stuff first, and I believe that all those steps, even though they felt really hard at the time, have built me up to become who I am today. And I say what doesn't break me will make me stronger. And I think about all the stuff that I've gone through, and I'm like, I should be an Amazonian like warrior with all the stuff that I've walked through. But I think I like to work in the weird and the wonderful and the imaginary, and one day I will illustrate a children's book, because I have to do it. Somehow I will do it. But I like the stuff that doesn't exist, and I like to create stuff that doesn't exist, because I think the world has lost a lot of its magic, and I think the world has lost of its ability to draw on their imagination. And us as adults, we totally forget how to just embrace our imaginations and how to just create without thinking, is it perfect? Is it going to look like this? It's not about that. It's just about enjoying the process. It's just about dreaming of things that could be whimsical and crazy, and the way kids see things. I think we lose that ability to have that free spirit in us, and I will always try and grasp onto that, because as adults there's too much stuff to stress about. There's too much stuff that's sitting on our shoulders, and creating a world that doesn't exist is just a way for you to just play. And that's why my work is so crazy and random and strange. And I would rather create some things that don't exist, because no one can tell me they're wrong, because I created it. I made it up. No one can say, well, that doesn't look like it should look like. And I said, well, you can't tell me that, because I made it up. So I love color, and I love weird and wonky, and I can't draw a straight line to save myself. So I am definitely someone that likes to keep my kid-like sense of adventure. That's where I am. And I like to work in books. I don't work on canvas, because I just love books. Books are where it is.
And you know, one thing that I really gained from you, the number one thing is really just doing it.
Yeah.
You know, I am well, some would say I'm type A. I'm really not. But it has helped me freed up. But to be honest, it doesn't last because that's my personality.
Yes.
So I have to keep watching and I have to keep listening to her and to just encourage me to do whatever it is that, to just be freer.
To just do what you
and
feel.
Yes, and that's so important. And someone like me really needs that constant reminder.
Yeah.
Because in my world, when I'm designing books, of course, I pretty much have to be a perfectionist. Of course, I'm not going to send something
That's
I don't
a different
like.
world.
Exactly.
Different world.
And so, but then it creeps over
It does.
to my artistic side. In her encouragement through her videos, it really has helped me kind of be a little bit more freer. But like I said, I still have to keep watching them and listening. And sometimes I'll listen to her messages more than one time because I need that encouragement.
Yeah, you need it drummed into you before.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so I will just have to say that if nothing else for me as an artist and as a busy person doing my thing, her Patreon has really helped me do that because in there she shares her heart and what her values, and I can't help but take some of that away. That wisdom and that inspiration.
I'm glad it's helped.
So it's really neat for in that sense. But I wanted to go ahead and ask you too, as far as your Patreon is concerned, how I do have to say too, Courtney was one of the first persons who I feel I don't know who started going into Patreon as far as artists are concerned, but I do know that Courtney is one of the ones that I know that gives so much in her what she gives on a subscription on a monthly basis, and very consistent.
Yes.
And I think that's so important. And she has shared with me how she was feeling a little bit, I don't want to say stressed, but a little concerned because she wanted to make sure that things were done before she left Australia, because she wanted to make sure that her content gets out there and it kept rolling. And I appreciate that because as a graphic designer or a photographer, I always had a deadline.
Yeah.
And most of the time I worked freelance and I had to set my own deadline. And if you can't follow through with your own deadline,
You can't do it.
You're messed up.
Yeah.
And so I know sometimes things happen, and that's happened to me, but for the most part, she takes this stuff seriously, you guys. And I want to say she's one of the people that I know in our realm, in the artist realm, that really does take this seriously. And I truly, truly appreciate that from her because it is a business for her. It does help put food and clothing to in her household and all of that. And so it's really important that you know that she is going to give you what your money's worth is, and even more so, to be honest. And so, and I don't want you guys to think I'm trying to sell her product.
No, that's
because
not what I'm here for.
That's not exactly, and that's not what it's about.
Yeah.
I really feel that there's such a value to it, and that I think artists should be paid what they're worth. Number one, because I'm an artist. I've always been an artist, a commercial artist, but it really is worth that. And so I just want to encourage you guys, take a peek at it. If you're not already an Inky, you're not already doing that. Someone says they're an Inky.
They're
oh,
Inky.
That's great.
There's
So-
a lot of names I recognize that are in there. Yeah.
Yes. And so anyway, the other thing too, well, let me take a couple of questions.
Yes.
We have to kind of get back to our family because we've been gone all day.
They're home, we're not.
Yeah. So let me just take a couple of questions from you guys to ask her, and then I want to briefly have her show you something that she brought over that I just thought is such a cool thing. And so, yes, Inky for life, says Carolyn.
Thank you.
So do you guys have any questions? I'm going to take 3 questions.
First in, first served.
Yeah. Do your creations help escape and add to your journaling?
Yes, they do, because my stuff in my journal is an extension of myself. So if I am feeling, and this has been said to me, they can tell by my art, by how I'm feeling mentally and physically, it will come out in my creatures. If I am feeling down and I'm feeling sad, my creature will reflect that. And you can tell when I'm a bit happy, my colors will brighter, my creatures will have a cheeky look on their face. They are definitely something that is an extension of me and always has been. And my collage sheets will also represent how I'm feeling. Like there's a picture in this next month's collage sheets where there's a girl that's got her shoulders down and the word tired above her head because I was exhausted. So it always is an extension of myself. My drawings are always versions of my stuff, and I don't normally say that, but you can definitely tell that my stuff does represent me in my own weird and wonderful way. So yes, it does. Next. She's writing furiously.
Okay, I'm going to have her answer these questions and then we need to move forward. Okay, so number one, people are saying we still need inky t-shirts.
Yes, I am working on merchandise, but I am only one woman. And I am trying my very best to rope my husband into that. Merchandise is coming, but it's not at the forefront of everything. It's there. It's in the corner of my mind. But content and giving you guys my videos and giving you everything that I promise is more important than merchandise at the moment. But there will be pins and totes and t-shirts. The Yinky tribe will get a t-shirt. I promise. I'll do my best.
Okay, and then some of the questions is, do your kids appreciate your art as much as they appreciate?
Yes and no. It depends on which small human you're talking to. My daughter treasures anything and everything that I do, and I think I have pushed that. I haven't pushed it, but she's watched me work tirelessly on things. She has her own journal, and that was another question. Do your kids have journals? Yes, they do, most definitely. I gave them a journal for Christmas one year filled with inserts, and Elijah will use his every now and again, but Boo she will draw every single day. I will wake up and find her sitting in her bed with her journal open drawing. And when she sees me sitting at the kitchen table, she will be there. She will creep in quietly and sit next to me and open up her journal and draw with me. And like they went away today to off-road, and Elijah said he would take photos, which is another part of me, and Lily said she would draw me what she saw. So they most definitely do. I did ask them when we went on our trip that I would like them to journal, but I wasn't ever going to push it on them. I don't ever want to push them into anything they don't want to do. But Boo gets it, and she has smuggled some of my journals to school for show and tell without me knowing. So that's how I know she appreciates my journals, because she wants to show everyone that Mummy is an artist. So
that's great.
Yeah.
It's always neat to see that when your kids appreciate it.
Definitely.
Because, it's one thing for the public to appreciate what you're doing, and we're thankful for that. But when your family really gets it, that's really an added bonus, And so one of the other questions real quick is there a toolbox? Do you still have your toolbox?
What do you mean by...
I think it's the wooden one.
The wooden one that my granddad made, or the wooden one that my dad made me that's got my name on the front? So if you could... I still have both. My granddad passed away this year recently, and one of the things that was given to me was a art supply box, which is a beautiful wooden box that opens, and it has all my fountain pens and my ink stored in it. My dad, yes, I most certainly do have my toolbox. It is in pride of place in my studio, and when I go and visit my mum and dad, it is one of the things that I take with me always. I love anything. My dad's made me my easel. My dad's made me a table, because I never used to sit at a desk. I used to sit cross-legged on the floor. He's made me a table the height of me. He's made me a board that I can sit on my lap and journal, because he could see me trying to balance against things, and I cherish anything that my dad makes me. But the toolbox most definitely is still in my collection, and I use it all the time.
Okay, there's another question. How do you balance your art and your writing?
That's a good question.
It's a good question.
Because my word for next year is actually balance, and that is because I am not balancing my work life and my home life and my own time life, because I have let work take over my life, because it is so important to me. And so I need to learn how to work I also need to learn how to art for myself without a camera running, because I feel that if a camera is not running, it's not important, which is ridiculous. And I need to get myself out of that habit, because I need to do art for myself in order to recharge, in order to get different ideas for you guys, in order to keep my brain running. And so I need to do a lot more journaling off camera, so that I can come, rampaging back into your lives with more ideas than I can, I don't want to drain myself out. And I need to stop working on weekends. And my husband has pointed that out quite subtly, that I need to stop working weekends, because that is our time as a family. And he said, I understand how important your work is to you, but your family needs you on a weekend. That's the only time hubby works really late hours, and so weekends are our time, and I need to learn to back away from my editing, back away from drawing for collage sheets, back away from everything. But that's how important it is to me. And then I also need to learn how to balance a little bit of YouTube into that, because I understand that YouTube needs to come back into the forum, but just not as... Patreon will always be my first and foremost, because it is what gives my family the ability to start saving for a house, the ability for my kids to have, something new that I wouldn't normally be able to buy them, the ability for us to go on a holiday. It's now my job. It's not a hobby. It's not anything like that. It was as if I went out every day to work. So it is important, and it'll always be the most important. But balance is a big word for 2018. So I can't say that I do know how to balance everything, but I'm working on the balance. So
I know that when my kids were younger, actually throughout their whole life while they were at home, because now they're adults and they are in their early 20s and they're off on their own, I required my husband, literally, because he's self-employed, always been self-employed, I required him to be home by 4 or 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
And I did not, he was at every recital, everything.
Yeah.
And so when I started working with Sojourner, I was expected basically the same thing.
Yeah.
That
you were home by 4.
I need to check out from work. And it's very difficult sometimes, especially when you own a business, because your business is your life.
Not only that, when your business is working from home, your business is always in your life. Like, I can turn and see my work, work. I'll be sitting on the couch watching a movie with my husband, but then I'm drawing for collage sheets. So I'm not focused on that thing. My mind is always in two places, and I need to separate that, because
it's something that I've had to learn, as far as even just the emails, because I'll get emails and sometimes people will expect an answer right away, and I cannot answer, and I just stopped answering on weekends.
Yeah. Because
it got to the point to where I'm constantly online, and we're out having coffee, we're doing something, and it's a distraction, and so it has to be balanced, because you need that time to just spend with your family.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
That's so important. I'm going to go ahead and one last question that I had earlier that I wanted to cover. It's more than 3 questions here. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
Because I want her to show you what she showed me and she showed us today. What is the bare bones of journaling, as far as what are the bare bones to get someone started in journaling?
A notebook and a pen. It is literally, you can use anything, but there's a gray area, because I would say if a journal's going to be your everything, and you just want to start and see if you like it, you need a notebook and a pen. But then I have moments when, if my life is going to be in this book, I want to have a pen that I love and a book that I love, and something that, like, we don't drink, we don't smoke, we don't do any of that. So notebooks and journals and art supplies are something that we put our money into, because they bring us joy. And if I'm going to put my memories and my family's memories into something, I would love it to be beautiful. But when you strip it all back, it's a notebook and a pen, and that's it. And you can do anything. And I've got a pile of journals at home, and they are old exercise books, they are spiral bound notebooks, they're books that are falling apart, They're just, but they're filled from top to bottom with just writing. There's no photographs, there's maybe some doodles, there's no color, there's no nothing. It's just writing, and that is the bare bones of journaling, is just writing and writing it down. It may sound like, I don't go back and read it because I'm pretty sure I was a drama llama back then, and I'm still a drama llama now, but it's just a notebook and a pen. That's all I can say is the bare bones. And then as you get more and more involved, or if it's something that you want to take to the next level, that is when you can decide, do I want to upgrade your journal into something that would, because
it's inspirational to have something nice, a nice pen.
Yeah.
I mean, and for me, I only pretty much write with fountain pens, and I just love the feel of it. It makes me feel, I don't know, elegant while I'm writing with it.
Yeah.
And, and that encourages me to write.
Yes.
To write more.
Yes.
And so sometimes I have to do those kinds of things to
push, because not every day you're going to go, well, I'm going to go write a novel about today. Mm-hmm. But having something that you really enjoy using and you really love going to, it makes it a lot easier, because some days you just don't want to write anything. But having the tools that you appreciate and that they bring you joy and that have meaning or a memory attached to them makes it so much nicer to just agree. Absolutely. A good pen makes all the difference. If you love your pen, you will write more. And I can guarantee it if you go from a Bic pen to, say, just something that your hand wants to keep going. And I've noticed that since switching to fountain pens, that I have wanted to write more than draw. And then I've started switching fountain pens over into my drawing life as well. So at the bare bones, it's a notebook and a pen, and then if you want it to become more, then that is your choice, and then that is how you can explore the very deep, deep rabbit hole that is the journaling community. So, yes.
Yeah, but I just think that, like she said, it's just, that is the bare bones of it. But if something else encourages you, then go ahead and do it. Use it, whatever, if you can afford it, for sure. But use it as a tool. That's what I really want to say, is they use it as a tool. Sometimes we get caught up in, I can't scratch my notebook, or because it's leather, it costs this much, etc., etc. And the same thing with your pen, being overly careful. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't be careful with your tools, but it's meant to be used. And I always look at those things as tools for me to get from point A to point B of what I want to do. And I want to use them. It used to be that I would save things because, it's too nice, I've got to save it for the future or whatever. And I'm like, I may not be here tomorrow.
And then it becomes vintage because you haven't used it for so long.
I'm just going to enjoy it. So anyway, all that to say, we're going to go ahead and show this real quick because we've got to get to our families. You're probably going, where are they? But anyway, okay, so this is something that she brought. And so, there you go.
This is my version of a travel journal. Obviously, you guys all know my normal journal. That's fine. But I wanted to do something because I am in an Nanami paper crossfield. I have noticed that if I do not do page structure very well, like add a tip in or something, the page will bend and it will flop. And you guys know that I am a tip in queen and I want to tip everything in possible. And so I was worried that the paper was not going to hold up to it, and I didn't want that to be a problem. So I actually turned my Rotofaden into a junk journal, which will turn into a travel journal. And it is all the stuff that I have collected since I've been here. There's 50 million Disney maps. There's like the burger wrapper from yesterday. We had coffee today and business cards. So it's all stuck in here for when I go. And then all of this sort of stuff, I have pre-decorated some things because I knew that I wanted, and some of my original stuff from collage sheets that are just sitting around my studio doing absolutely nothing. I just started pulling it into this and folding the pages. And so I've got like acetate and pockets and stuff like that, old bits and pieces. And then I've got scrapbook papers that are just folded. And then if I need to create a tip-in or something like that, and I obviously can literally just tear a piece of the scrapbook paper out and glue it on the back of postcards, which I will then turn into a tip-in. And it won't matter because I've torn it from somewhere in here, and where is it? Here. So last night I tore this off, and I think Rowena almost had a heart attack. And
well, I was wondering what she was doing.
I just ripped it because I needed some colored paper. I hate the way it looks on the back of a postcard, and I like to make these giant tip-ins and journal cards. So I ripped it, and then this, I will just attach something to it later to elongate it. And so I have, you know, papers and stuff. I can't take credit for the papers. Mitz had it on one of her videos, and then I've just transformed it into, I will turn it into a junk journal at the same time. And so I've got bits and pieces of acetate so that I can layer things on top of it. And because I have not bound this book either, and so it means I can literally pull out all of this if I want to. If I want to insert a map, I will just pull up the clips, slip the map in, and then when I get home and I'm finished and I'm happy with how everything is, I will then bind it and it will be done. But I just knew that my Tomo River paper, as much as I love it, I go a bit crazy, and like there's a heap of postcards in here and it's not going to hold, and I was worried about that. So I will still journal about our trip in it in small chunks, but all the ephemera that I'm collecting, and I've been here 4 days, and my journal's about to bust with all the stuff I keep hoarding and picking up, and John's like, stop taking things. I'm like, no, I'm going to take it all. And I think I've got 4 Disney maps in there so that I can alter one, I can use one as, I can rip it and use it as collage. So everyone got a map, and I told everyone, get a map. And John's like, we need 2. And I said, no, we need 1 for each of us so that I can alter the rest of them. I can keep one, I can alter one, and all that sort of stuff. So it's definitely going to be a really cool thing once it's finished. So I can't wait to see how it evolves. And you'll obviously see sneak peeks of it, but it's already a bit out of control.
I love it because it does double duty.
Yeah.
You know, it is something that she will use to journal on and put writing in, but also she uses the paper that's in it to, like she said,
to cover tip-ins. Like that's a postcard. I didn't like the back of it. I now have a picture of me and Boo from Disneyland, and I'll write about it on there, and I'll either create a pocket or I'll tip it into the side. So
and then she can move the pages around.
Yep.
So if she doesn't like the next page because maybe it doesn't match, or she wants something to match better, she can move the pages around.
Yeah.
And so I really, really like that idea, and so it's something that I actually want to incorporate in my travel notebook, because many times I like to journal and they're words, but a lot of times I also just want to sit and play, and it's my, let's face it, I don't get to do that a lot. So sometimes when I'm on a trip, on a bus, on a tour,
having it pre-done before you leave is something new for me. I normally wouldn't pre-make something like this, but I know that all I have to really do is slap down some writing, some photos, and the ephemera, and it's done. I don't have to worry about backgrounds. I don't have to worry about color coordination because I've already started it. I may doodle on the pages and stuff like that, but a whole heap of it is already done, and especially with scrapbook paper. So it's not just scrapbook, it's also stuff that I've actually hand-colored or painted beforehand. When I know that when you're traveling, you're exhausted, you're tired. There's no, I'm going to sit there and color a background and then go and do the journaling.
Exactly.
So that's the way I decided to do it, was to pre-do stuff so that I was like, okay, I've done the background. All I need to do is add the memories, and then it's done. And I'm not going to get home and have a whole heap of ephemera and an empty journal.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which happens to a lot of us travelers.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to cut this off because we can go on for hours here, and we love being here, and I love the fact that Courtney came out, and I just want to thank her from the bottom of my heart that she came out here, to especially for those in Southern California, that in Keys, that are in this area. And so she was very gracious in coming out and doing the meetup. So I'm very thankful for that. And so we, like I said, we kind of have to go back to our families, and then she also leaves early tomorrow to go back to LA and have to take her. So anyway, thank you guys so much for sticking around. Well, just really quick, is there something else that you might want to say?
No,
I want to give you that chance to do that. She did tell me her tagline, and I want her to tell you her tagline.
My tagline is where art and life collide. So my journal is where my drawings and my photographs and my life collide, and that's basically my tagline.
I love that.
Yeah.
And so with that, I want to go ahead and say goodbye to you guys, and thank you so much. And as always, keep on documenting life as it happens. God bless you guys, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Safe travels, Courtney. Enjoy your holiday. Enjoy your trip. So much love, everyone. I had so much fun. Take care. Love you guys. Love you guys, too. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Shalom.